Stalingrad, one of the bloodiest battles in history. But what did a Red Army rifleman actually carry into the fight? From weapons and ammo to rations and personal gear, every item tells a story of survival, hardship, and courage on the front lines. Mosin-Nagant M91-30 rifle, the legendary three-line rifle. Rugged, reliable, and hitting like a mule kick, the Mosin-Nagant was the primary tool for driving invaders back from the Volga. It could endure mud, snow, and neglect, yet still fire every time the trigger was pulled. Socket bayonet, a brutal cruciform spike designed for thrusting, not cutting. Russian doctrine stated that the bullet is a fool, but the bayonet is a fine fellow, and in the close-quarters ruins of Stalingrad, this 17-inch spike was often the last thing an enemy saw. SSH-40. Steel helmet replacing the earlier silhouettes, the SSH-40 became the iconic symbol of the Soviet soldier. Its heavy steel shell offered solid protection against shrapnel and falling debris in the bombed-out city streets. M1935 Gymnast-Yorka tunic. This pullover tunic with a high-standing collar was the standard uniform top. Simple and durable, it eventually gave way to easier-to-manufacture designs, but in the early days of the battle, this was the look of the Red Army. Chanel greatcoat, made of thick, coarse, brownish-gray wool. The Chanel was more than just clothing. It was a soldier's blanket and bedding. While heavy when wet, its length provided crucial protection against the biting winds of the steppe. Telegrajka padded jacket, the Vatnik. This quilted cotton padded jacket was a lifesaver when the temperature dropped. Cheap to produce and incredibly warm, it gave the Soviet soldier a distinct advantage over freezing German troops lacking proper winter gear. Ushanka fur hat, made from synthetic fish fur or sheepskin. The Ushanka is the definitive Russian winter hat. With ear flaps that could be tied up or lowered to protect the chin and neck, it was essential for preventing frostbite. Pilotka side cap, the standard summer headgear. Worn slightly tilted, this simple folding cloth cap offered no protection but was light, easy to stow, and held the Red Star badge of the Soviet Union. Charivari breeches. These distinctively baggy riding breeches were tight at the ankles and loose at the hips. The loose fit allowed for ease of movement while running through rubble or climbing over obstacles. Kurza jackboots. With leather in short supply, the Soviets invented kurza, a canvas fabric treated with rubber-like substances to imitate leather. These boots were waterproof and breathable, though they had a distinctive chemical smell. Valenki felt boots. When the Russian winter truly set in, leather boots froze. Valenki, made of thick, compressed wool felt, were the gold standard for warmth. Silent on the snow and incredibly insulating, they were prized possessions in Stalingrad. Canvas waist belt, a simple utilitarian strap with a roller buckle. It held the soldier's gear together, supporting ammo pouches, grenades, and the entrenching tool. Meshok rucksack, essentially a simple sack with a drawstring and shoulder straps. Primitive compared to German backpacks, the Meshok was nonetheless effective for hauling rations, spare foot wraps, and personal items. Mosin-Nagant ammo pouches, usually made of pebbled leather or kurza. These dual-pocket pouches sat on the belt. Each pouch held several stripper clips, keeping ammunition clean and ready for rapid reloading. 7.62 54mm stripper clips, thin metal clips holding 5 rounds each. They allowed a rifleman to load the Mosin-Nagant's internal magazine in a single motion, maintaining a high rate of fire during human wave attacks. F1 hand grenade, nicknamed the Lemon due to its shape. This defensive grenade had a thick cast-iron body designed to fragment into heavy shrapnel. Soldiers had to throw it from behind cover, as the kill radius often exceeded the throwing distance. RGD-33 stick grenade, an older dual-purpose grenade. It required a complex priming process before throwing. A fragmentation sleeve could be added for anti-personnel use, making it versatile but somewhat cumbersome to use under fire. RPG-40 anti-tank grenade, a heavy, high-explosive grenade designed to disable vehicles. It relied on blast effect rather than a shaped charge. To use it, a soldier had to get terrifyingly close to enemy armor. Molotov cocktail, a bottle of thickened fuel with a rag fuse or chemical igniter. Cheap, desperate, and terrifying, these were used to blind tank viewports and choke engines in the urban labyrinth of Stalingrad. MPL-50 entrenching tool, officially a shovel for digging foxholes, but in the hands of a Soviet soldier, it was a fearsome melee weapon. Sharpened on the edges, it was perfectly balanced for close-quarters combat in trenches and stairwells. Leather spade carrier, a simple frame to hang the MPL-50 shovel from the waist belt. It kept the tool secure against the hip while marching or running. K. Aluminum canteen, a standard vessel for water, though often filled with tea or vodka when available. Aluminum was valuable, so later in the war, many were replaced with glass, which was dangerous if broken. Canvas canteen cover, a cloth pouch that attached the canteen to the belt. Wetting the cover helped cool the water in summer through evaporation, while in winter, it offered a tiny bit of insulation against freezing. Kidney-shaped mess kit, modeled after German designs, this aluminum pot was used to collect rations from field kitchens. It served as a pot, a pan, and a plate all in one. Wooden spoon. Most soldiers carried a wooden spoon tucked into their boot leg. Why wood? Because in the sub-zero temperatures of Stalingrad, a metal spoon would instantly freeze to a soldier's lips. Gas mask bag. While chemical warfare was a threat, many soldiers discarded the bulky mask and used this canvas satchel to carry extra ammunition, grenades, tobacco, or food. Dual compartment oil bottle, a small metal tin with two spouts marked with letters for alkaline and oil. It contained the solvent to clean corrosive primer residue and the oil to lubricate the rifle bolt. Rifle cleaning kit, a small roll of tools including a jagged tip, a brush, and a muzzle protector. Keeping the Mosin-Nagant clean was a matter of discipline and survival. Bakelite ID capsule, a small screw-top cylinder containing a paper scroll with the soldier's details. Grimly, many soldiers refused to fill them out, believing it was bad luck, a death warrant signed in advance. Red Army Paybook, the Krasnoarmeyskaya Knishka. This paper booklet was the soldier's primary identity document, recording their service history, rank, and unit. Individual dressing packet, a sealed bandage carried by every soldier, sometimes sewn into a special pocket in the tunic. In the absence of a medic, this was the first line of defense against bleeding out. Makorka tobacco, rough, chopped rustic tobacco made from the stem of the plant. It was harsh and strong, providing a much-needed stimulant and morale booster during the long waits between fighting. Newspaper strips, rolling papers were scarce, so soldiers used strips of Pravda or Red Star newspapers to roll their Makorka cigarettes, literally smoking the news of the day. Safety matches, precious commodities on the front. Keeping them dry was a constant struggle but essential for lighting fires for warmth and cigarettes for nerves. Port Yankee foot wraps. Instead of socks, Russian soldiers used rectangular strips of cloth. Wrapped correctly, they prevented blisters and dried faster than socks. Wrapped incorrectly, they could cripple a soldier on a march. 3-finger trigger mittens. Heavy wool mittens with a separate slot for the index finger. These allowed a soldier to operate the trigger of his rifle without exposing his skin to the freezing air. White camouflage cape. In the whiteout conditions of the Russian winter, this simple cotton cape turned a soldier invisible, allowing him to ambush enemies before vanishing into the snow.